Hello class, this is Professor Robert McDonald. I will be your instructor for fall semester 2016 for the online class CRJ 3150-800 Criminal Investigation. This audio tape is a course introduction which I want each student to listen to. I'm going to give you two options. You can listen to it just with the audio portion, or I'm also going to upload this audio portion with one slide to YouTube in case you find that more convenient for you. As you listen to the tape, what I want you to do is, number one, have a copy of the syllabus available, because I'm going to review some of the highlights of the syllabus. And also I want you to have Blackboard pulled up on your computer. You can minimize or do whatever you have to do if you have to have a couple of screens here, but I definitely want Blackboard up because I'm going to go through some of the elements of the course shell as we get later into the recording. So if you look on page 1 of the syllabus, you'll see the pertinent information relative to how to contact me. For those of you that are local students, I have posted office hours in the syllabus, and you can make an appointment and come see me if you wish to discuss course matters. For those of you that are full-time distance students and you don't live near the campus and it's inconvenient for you to come see me in person, you can send me an email or give me a phone call, and we can set up or we can arrange a time where I can speak with you on the phone and try to satisfy whatever issues that you have. I have no problem doing this. The best way to reach me is through email. You can call me on the phone and leave a message if you do call, but I don't check that as frequently because there's days when I'm not in the office. But if you email me, I will always get back to you. But nonetheless, those are the two choices that you have. But I'm willing to work with local students and distance students, whatever it takes, if you have questions about course materials that are important to the class. Now again, this course will be completely online. If you haven't taken an online class, I highly suggest that you look at the link that I provided on page 1 of the syllabus and familiarize yourself with the requirements. I'm going to go through more of the details here as well. The book we're going to be using, I have a picture of it. You also should have been able to find it at the bookstore, is Criminal Investigation Basic Perspectives, 13th edition by Charles Lushball and Paul Weston. I personally chose this book after having looked at multiple books, multiple textbooks, and I believe this book will be very well suited for what I'm trying to accomplish with you in this class. Again, make sure you look through everything. I have a lot of students that wanted this class that are sitting around. If any of you decide this is not the class for you, go ahead and drop. I hope you'll stay, but if you decide this is not the class you expected it to be, try to get out as quickly as you can so I can take some of those slots and give them to other students that might be interested. But again, I hope that you do decide to stay. All communications between us will be via email. I want you to email me using your university email address, not your personal address. I'm not going to respond to questions from your Google account or your Hotmail account. Many times these emails end up in a junk folder and I don't even see them anyway. So if you respond to me, or if you have a question for me and you need to communicate with me, make sure you use your university email. Another thing is, I don't respond to Twitter language. If you communicate with me, I expect the grammar and the writing to be professional. Make sure you have our textbook before day 1 of this class, because you're going to jump right off with some important requirements to start with. Now, what is the goal of this course? I've been wanting to teach this class. This is the first time I'm going to do it online. I'm going to do it in a lecture format in the spring. I am a former criminal investigator. I spent 27 years in federal law enforcement with 2 federal agencies, the NCIS, the Naval Criminal Investigative Service, and I was also a United States Postal Inspector. Postal Inspection Service is discussed several times in this textbook. To be honest with you, I love the career. I've worked. There's not a case or a type of case or investigation that's mentioned in this book that I haven't been involved with at some point. So hopefully I can bring some of those experiences into the classroom environment to make it a little bit more fulfilling for you. I know I've tried to include it in some of the assignments that I've put together. It's a great career. I enjoyed every bit of it, and when I retired from federal law enforcement, because I had an expertise in terrorism towards the end of my postal inspector career, working in the international security assignment, I ended up working with the Department of State Anti-Terrorism Assistance Unit for close to 10 years before I came to Pembroke. And in this capacity, I traveled overseas and trained police officers and government and military officials on how to set up counterterrorism programs, intelligence, things of that nature. So nonetheless, I am looking forward to it. We're going to really get into criminal investigation. We're going to look at rules of evidence and arrest, the crime scene, forensics of today. We'll look at the various type of investigations, the major crimes that we will cover in this book, everything from homicide to fraud to terrorism classes to armed robbery, you name it. Not terrorism classes, but terrorism subjects and terrorism investigations. So make sure you look at the course learning goals. We'll take a look at the historical development of the police, and in particular development as they went into law enforcement. I've already told you about myself. I'm also a Marine Corps veteran, and so I'm very sensitive to the needs of our veterans and our ROTC students, and also our athletes. Nonetheless, they don't get any separate treatment than any other student in this class, so be aware of that. Our course week runs from Monday morning till Sunday midnight, except for the first and the last week of the semester. You'll have a weekly reading assignment. You must stay current in this class. The class will move quickly. The book is easy to understand, but it's also very condensed. So you need to stay up on the readings. If you think that you can be successful in this class, not do the readings, not review the slides, not participate and review the films, you're going to be sadly mistaken. You're going to figure that out real quick. Each chapter has a PowerPoint slides that I've personally gone through and updated, added. They're very, very good review tools to support the chapters. I've also included some photographs in those particular slides. From time to time, I haven't decided for sure, but I'll just mention it here. I might put an audio tape or two in if I see some subject matter in a particular chapter that I find is very difficult and maybe hard to understand. Maybe I'll try to include an audio tape if I have time to put them together to support the readings. But again, you'll have a chapter to read, sometimes 2 chapters in a week. They're not that long. You'll have slides to review, and you'll have film clips that support the readings and the content of the week. You'll have exams. You'll have some quizzes. I'm going to talk about those in a minute, and you'll also have some writing assignments. Examination rules. The tests are highlighted on the syllabus. I normally put out a weekly announcement as to class rules, but activities. But it's your responsibility to make sure you have a copy of this syllabus, make sure you fill out your personal calendar, and you know what's responsible each week. Exams and quizzes will be in the syllabus, the dates, etc., what they cover. My tests are open for 48 hours. I do this to accommodate students that have jobs and other responsibilities where maybe some different hours are better for them. So for example, if we have a Monday-Tuesday exam, the exam would open at 1 minute after midnight on Sunday night and close at 11:59 on Tuesday night. There's nobody that shouldn't be able to fit 30 or 40 minutes into their schedule to take these exams. Again, it's your responsibility. If I catch any students, and we do have some ways of looking at this, and I do examine this, that's my investigative nature. If I have students that I think are colluding on tests or working together, and if we can prove that such a violation exists, number one, it's not fair to the rest of the class, I can promise you you'll get a 0 on that assignment and probably an F in the course. I do place a high value on integrity, especially if you're going to work in this field. We have an honor code, so plagiarism is something else that I'll be looking for. Hopefully I won't see it in this class. I'm not going to cover these other issues about religious holidays, tutoring available, that sort of thing. You can read that on your own. Bottom line is there's a lot of resources at the university to help you excel in any class that you're taking. So make sure you take advantage of it. I do not anticipate using any proctoring. You'll be taking the test at home or at school or in your dorm room, whatever. And I'll protect the intellectual property rights of you. I wouldn't release any of your work without your permission in advance. On page 6, you'll see the grading scale. Course requirements. Let's go through this real quickly. There'll be 6 exams. My final exam is not comprehensive, so the first exam might be on a couple of chapters, the next one might be on 3 or 4 chapters. I usually link the exams together by the nature of the material that we're studying. In other words, if we're looking at forensic science and we're looking at crime laboratories, I'll link those into, and that's the way the book flows as well. Those, there might be 3 or 4 chapters that are covered on that exam, and then there might be some tests that only have 1 or 2 chapters covered. But nonetheless, the final is not comprehensive, and you'll take that on December 5th and 6th. Test questions could be anything. Could be multiple choice, essay, could be short answer, could be true and false. Questions will be drawn from the textbook, from the slides, from all the audio tapes, the films, and any supplemental assigned reading. So anything you do in this class that you're assigned, you could get a question on it. And I can promise you that there will be questions from the films. So when you're watching the films, take notes of the key elements of the film itself. You'll have, in addition to the 6 exams, you'll have 3 quizzes that I've thrown in there during weeks when there's a couple of weeks that go by without a test, just to make sure everybody's staying up on their reading. They'll normally be during Wednesday and Thursday of the pertinent week, probably only 10 questions, and I'll give you like 12, 13 minutes to finish them. Discussion board. I'm going to use a little discussion board here, but for a little differently. There'll be only 3 graded discussion forums in this class, and I've posted a discussion board forum rules document, so I want you to read it. And you'll be graded on these 3. There's 3 graded ones, and I'm going to have a course introduction discussion board. But on the 3 graded discussion boards, you can earn a maximum of 3 points on each. And what I'm going to do with the discussion board grade is, let's say you earn maximum points on all 3 discussion boards, and you have 3 points as your average. I'm going to add that to your final weighted average. So if your average is 87 and you got a B+, I'm going to bump you up to an A- with a 90. So this is a great opportunity to add some points to your final average. That's what I'm going to use the discussion boards for. Practical exercise writing assignments. There'll be a total of 4 of these required during the semester. Usually you'll have a week. 3 of those you'll have a week, and then the 4th one is a professional interview. And in that particular assignment, I'm going to give you 4 weeks, and you're going to interview a criminal investigator. I want you to go out, find a detective, find a FBI agent, a postal inspector, an ATF agent, I don't care. I've given you a set of guidelines on Blackboard as to how to conduct this interview, and I want you to actually talk to somebody that does the job. I think you'll find it a very rewarding experience. I've done this in my terrorism classes, and it's well received. So there's only 4 writing assignments, so that's not too bad. Make sure you look at the writing assignment rules that are included in the syllabus. Your grades, there's no research paper. Your final grades will be 6 exams or 70%, the 3 online quizzes are 10%, the 4 writing assignments are 20% of your final grade, and then the discussion board form bonus points will be added to your weighted average, your final weighted average. What they mean by weighted average is tests count more than quizzes because of the importance of them. And I have a mathematical formula that I've put into Blackboard. And actually, when you look at your weighted average on Blackboard, you'll know exactly where you stand every day. Now let's go to page 9. You'll see your course outline. And I've got an outline for all of the, for every week that we have in the semester. And it'll give you your reading assignment, if there's any films to watch, if there's a quiz listed. So this is your roadmap, this course outline. It tells you exactly what we're going to be doing. I've tried to balance the workload throughout the course of the semester, and I think you'll find it. The book is very interesting to read. If you're going to be a criminal justice professional, whether you're going to be a criminal investigator like I was, or you want to be a state trooper, or you'd like to be a lawyer, a prosecutor, or a defense attorney, you're going to get value out of this. And if you never want to work in the field, you'll be a much more informed citizen as to how criminal investigations work. It's a very, very interesting topic, and it was, I'll be honest with you, I don't regret 1 minute that I spent working as a federal agent. Okay, let's look at our course outline. We'll look at week 1, listen to this tape, make sure you read the syllabus, check into Blackboard. When you listen to the tape, that'll show you that you're participating, and I can report you as participating to the registrar. And then you'll have a chapter assignment to read in your learning objectives. With each one of those chapters, there's a corresponding set of PowerPoints, etc. Week 2, you have a practical exercise that second week that ties in with the first week's reading. You have 7 days to do it. I'm not going to accept late work. When you got 7 days, you better get it in there by 11:59, or you're not going to get a grade. You'll get a 0. Week 3 will be your first exam, which covers chapters 1 and 2. We'll have our first discussion board. I am going to have an introduce yourself to the class discussion board that I'll post in our in my first official email to the class. And on. You can just go through and see where if there's a film, like we start watching films in week 4. I've got some forensic films that I'm going to have. And sometimes these films are 10 minutes, sometimes they're 25 minutes, okay? They're not 2-3 hour films. A lot of times they're film clips, but they all tie directly in with the work that you're reading and with the chapter that you're reading. And I've personally selected these film clips based on my experience, knowing these things will be very useful. So anyway, that's the breakdown. Let's look at real quick. I want you to look at sorry, this recorder is messing up a little bit. So anyway, you see a home page on the left, the tabs on the left. I want you to click on course content. Some of you probably have taken online classes before, so this will be old hat to you. But this is really the main link for you. And you'll see the book, you'll see the syllabus. I have posted Blackboard test taking and Professor Online test taking tip documents. Make sure you read those before you take your first test. Discussion board form rules. This is where you'll see your exams. Your practical exercises will appear here. You'll upload them. You'll upload them under safe assignment. So if you plagiarize, it'll tell me. So make sure that you follow the writing rules that I provide in the assignment. And also you'll see your Chapter 1 PowerPoint, Chapter 2 PowerPoints. Your film links are here under each chapter. So if you read Chapter 3, you've got a PowerPoint you've got to review, and then you'll have 2 film clips that you need to also watch that support Chapter 3. These are mandatory, and there will be questions from the films. And it just goes on down. So anyway, that's pretty much all you need to know. Those are the main points. If you go to the discussion board, this is where I'll this is where I will post the discussion board assignments, the 3 discussion boards we have that are graded, and also the course introduction discussion board. So those are really, and then most of you should know where to find your grades. So anyway, that should round up this course introduction audio. You can listen in an audio version. I'm also going to convert it to a WMV file that I can post on YouTube if you prefer that. If you have any questions after listening to the tape and reviewing the syllabus, send me an email and we'll get those questions answered. Other than that, enjoy the course, and I look forward to working with all of you this semester. That'll be the end of this tape.